My name's Katherine Jordan, and for my investigative project, I decided to do the monumental heads, aka the Moai statues, from 15th century volcanic tufa, Easter Island, Polynesia. Now, I decided to do this particular statue because ever since I was a kid, I always wondered about the mysterious Easter Island heads and how they got there and why they're there and how those people moved them. So today I'm going to be talking to you about the transportation that the people did to move all these heads, the purpose of why they're there, and some hidden mysteries and solutions that I found out through my research. The main topic that I discovered through my research was how these heads were transported all over the island. There's over hundreds of thousands of these heads on this little island. And how did they get there? Well, through my research, I found out that the tribes people would transport these heads to different locations as a symbol of war. Some of them were for war, and some were for religious reasons. To my right, there's a video of how scientists discovered how tribespeople moved these heads and moved these bodies around. The biggest Easter Island mysteries is how Stone Age tribes could succeed in transporting 50 plus ton Moai statues across hilly terrain, bad weather, and dangerous animals. There are several transportation theories, some of which are more generally accepted than others. What I found, well, some thought that they would roll these huge statues on their sides and just roll them all over the island. And that theory is okay, but then how would you be able to stand them upright? So another theory is that, like in the video, they would tie ropes around the statues and rock them side to side, little at a time, and it would slowly transport to their desired destination. There are many Moai statues that fell during transportation. Some of these are on their stomach and some on their back on the islands. This tells us that the Moais were transported upright, since the Moais are standing in the quarry Rano Raruke, and they are standing when having reached their ahu, which means their desired destination. The upright transportation saved the Rapa Nui people the huge amount of labor of lowering and raising the statues. So that's pretty much what I'm going to talk about is the transportation upright. What many people don't know about the Easter Island heads is that they actually have full bodies. Some have arms, some have legs, some have designs on their head. But over time, when they were placed in their desired destination, the ground actually grew over their bodies, hiding them. So all people really knew is that they had heads. But archaeologists found that they have huge bodies underneath the ground. This is a controversial new claim because they didn't know that they had bodies and they just thought it was, mysterious heads. But according to Journal of archaeologicalscience.com, the scientists published their findings. There are nearly 1,000 statues littering Easter Island's 163 square kilometers, with the largest weighing 74 tons and standing 10 meters in height. One of the most perplexing facts is how these statues were transported, which is what we've been speaking about. It was thought that the Polynesians who settled Easter Island 800 years ago had used logs to roll the Moai into place, which supports the idea that Rapa Nui people became so obsessed with statue building that they deforested much of the island's trees. The incomplete statues that had yet to reach their pedestals lean noticeably forward, a posture that doesn't lend itself to horizontal transport. So we figured out that they actually weren't rolled. They were stood up straight. Otherwise, how would they fall the way they did? The Moai statues are freestanding statues, meaning that they are meant to be seen from all over. A relief sculpture is meant to be seen only from the front, compared to the relief carving Hindu, Bantia, Cambodia, second half of the 10th century. Detail of red sandstone carving. This is from our textbook, and these two items are being compared. The monumental heads were meant to be seen, but why? Many people believe that the Rapa Nui people were obsessed with making these statues, that there really wasn't a specific reason to why they were making them. It wasn't really a war reason or religious reason, which is what I thought in the beginning. Damien Gale, a contributor of the archaeologist community, states that on the other hand, incomplete statues littered across the island tend to support the idea they were rocked into position. He's claiming in this article that the statues were moved vertically, not rolled, but moved upright like a fridge. These incomplete statues, he says, lean forward in a posture that doesn't seem to lend itself to horizontal transport. He also states the broken moai along roads were presumably dropped and abandoned, also point to their being transported across the island vertically. So there you have it. He believes that it's vertically upright. But a naysayer that he added to his article her name is Joanne Van Tilburg, director of the Easter Island Statue Project at University of California, Los Angeles. She states that in the video I showed you before, that this work doesn't prove anything because it wasn't a real replica of a statue. It was a smaller version, less heavy version, and therefore shouldn't be held to a specific scientific standard. She just wants to throw the whole scientific study out because she doesn't believe that it's plausible. When I started this project, I wanted to know why these heads were here. And I didn't really think about how they got there and what they were made out of or what the people were trying to accomplish when they made them. Through my research, I discovered that these heads, the most important part were their transportation, which is what I've been talking about. I believe that these heads were transported, like all the archaeologists say, with ropes tied around them and rocked side to side. Owen Jarvis, live science contributor, talked about how legends were told that they just walked, that these statues were alive and they just walked around, and that's how they were put into place. And that's what the people of Polynesia would tell stories about. So I did more research and I found that they weren't really walking. It was just that the people transported them. In my investigation of the Easter Island heads, I found many interesting opinions and facts on how the Rapa Nui people moved these megaliths. Each head is strategically placed and beautiful, standing tall. My research was very rewarding, and many may not believe in these views of transportation, but I believe it to be true.